Two federal judges split over the future of the medication abortion drug mifepristone. A judge in Texas gave the Biden administration 7 days to appeal his decision, which blocked the FDA's approval of the widely used abortion drug, throwing many women and medical providers into a state of uncertainty. Here with me now is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Xavier Becerra. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. So this Texas ruling banning mifepristone goes into effect on Friday, unless a stay is issued. The question that women across America have right now is, will they have access to abortion medication after this week?
Well, they certainly have access today, and we intend to do everything to make sure it's available to them, not just in a week, but moving forward, period, because mifepristone is one of the safest and most effective medicines that we've seen over the last 20 years to help women with their health care, especially abortion care. So it is incumbent upon us as a country to make sure women have safe and effective medication available to them.
How are you going to do that?
Well, we've already filed an appeal of this court's ruling. One judge in one court in one state turned upside down the FDA's approval process for safe and effective medications. We have to go to court and seek an appeal.
What happens if the ban is upheld? Will this drug disappear from the market overnight?
So Dana, that's big speculation. First and foremost, when you turn upside down the entire FDA approval process, you're not talking about just mifepristone. You're talking about every kind of drug. You're talking about our vaccines. You're talking about insulin. You're talking about the new Alzheimer's drugs that may come on. If a judge decides to substitute his preference, his personal opinion, for that of scientists and medical professionals, what drug isn't subject to some kind of legal challenge? So we have to go to court, and for America's sake and for women's sake, we have to prevail in this.
My next guest, Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, thinks that the FDA should just ignore the Texas judge's ruling. And, you know, she's not alone. I'm sure you've seen some legal experts argue the FDA does have broad discretion to simply choose not to enforce a ban and allow the drug to remain on the market. So yes or no, as the HHS secretary, do you want the FDA to enforce the Texas ruling if it is upheld in the short term?
Yes or no, we want the courts to overturn this reckless decision. Yes or no, we want, that women continue to have access to a drug that's proven itself safe. Millions of women have used this drug around the world, more than 60 countries.
But what if they don't act in the interim before you get to that point in the court?
I got to believe that an appeals court, the Supreme Court, whatever court, has to understand that this ruling by this one judge overturns not just access to mifepristone, but possibly any number of drugs.
What if they don't?
That's speculation that I think is not worth engaging in.
But are you taking it off the table that you will recommend the FDA ignore a ban?
Everything is on the table. The president said that way back when the Dobbs decision came out. Every option is on the table.
So I want to ask about the Supreme Court, because you obviously see this. You hope that you win an appeal. It will likely go to the Supreme Court. Do you agree with that?
Good chance.
So how worried are you that this court, conservative majority in the United States Supreme Court, will agree with the Texas judge?
If the role of judges, of justices, is to apply the law to the facts and the evidence, the facts and the scientific evidence are that mifepristone is not just safe, but it's effective, and it was properly approved. And so I don't care who the 9 justices are on the Supreme Court or any court of appeal. They should be able to discern the difference between inserting their personal judgment and using the facts and evidence to make a legal ruling.
Do you feel confident that could happen with this court?
I do, but I'm not on the courts. And certainly I'm not on that court where that Texas judge decided to turn upside down the whole process that FDA has used for years for many drugs.
We are now in a period of uncertainty, like this week. What's your message to women and to medical providers who want to get this drug and use this drug?
This is not America. What you saw by that one judge in that one court in that one state, that's not America. America goes by the evidence. America does what's fair. America does what is transparent and we can show that what we do is for the right reasons, that's not America.